what's my plan when it comes to XCN? Because even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling you to do anything, this is just purely my perspective when it comes to this. But besides that, what's my plan moving forward? Well, as of right now, I get it, XCN. The market cap, it's not doing too good. It's actually around 250 million. And 25 cents is around a 35x from here. But even besides that, when I take a look at something like that, when I was first holding XCN, back in near the end of 2024, at that time, keep in mind, when it comes to that, if I was telling my friend that, hey, maybe hypothetically one day, could XCN ever reach top 165 in terms of ranking, within that, right? In terms of, again, market cap. A lot of my friends would probably laugh at me. They'd probably be like, oh no, there's no way. Even with the pullback as of right now, XCN is still top 165 in terms of market cap, which I think kind of showcases the journey it's been through. Now, of course, there's been ups, there's been downs. However, in my perspective, I'm still waiting for the journey. What do I mean by this? I'm still waiting and seeing for an altcoin season. That's my perspective, which is why I've been holding throughout this entire time. And still dollar cost averaging, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, personally for me, the way I take a look at this journey is this. It's kind of like, I'm going to give an example actually in my real life, right? For instance, I remember I went to Utah to go hike, right, to reach the top of Angel's Landing. That's in Zion National Park, by the way. Comment down below if you've been there. But besides that point, when I was going through that hike, or should I say that climb or that journey, it's not that easy, actually. I was tired a couple times. However, throughout that journey, I met a dentist. Now, this dentist, he was from Canada, and he was telling me about a journey of how he moved from, Seoul all the way to Toronto, like many, many years ago, and then his wife, who's from Japan. We just had a good conversation, and the thing is, I think it kind of showcases that, there's going to be times where things are not going to be smooth sailing, but then I still kind of wanted to go reach the top of Angel's Landing, and so did the dentist and his wife, and then also my friend that I went with, who's from Japan. So then we just had a good conversation, because my auntie actually lived in Japan for over 30 years. So yeah, that was a good thing to talk about. But I think, again, that kind of journey showed me that, reaching the top of Angel's Landing, there was ups, there was downs. There was times when I first walked, I was like, oh wow, I'm very excited. I was doing it. Then suddenly I was like, whoa, I was a little bit tired. And the thing is, that didn't help was I was using Adidas NMDs, the shoes. And then everyone was like saying, well, why are you using that? And then I was carrying a gallon of water that I got from Walmart. So then the whole thing was just kind of me not really preparing properly. But I'm saying, like, the thing is, that's like kind of what I'm seeing as of right now, right? When it comes to, as of right now, again, seeing this, it's kind of like the times when I was resting along that hike. What can I look at during a time where the price isn't doing the best? I take a look at what the project is focused on. Because when it comes to, let's say, the space of payments and global trade and finance, we already kind of know the players within this, right? However, what it kind of represents to me is that it is something with a way lower market cap than the case of XLM, for instance, but then it's kind of basically focused on the same thing. So that's just the way you take a look at it. I mean, why would I give up? That's just my perspective. Now, sometimes people like to tell me, okay, well, it's because, XCN is never going to do anything. Well, without an altcoin season, literally less than a year ago, I saw the market cap reach around $1 billion. It doesn't mean it will do that hypothetically again, because that was just what it did not too long ago. But I'm saying that it did that like less than a year ago. So I don't know why I'd give up, especially if I haven't seen altcoin season. Now, if for whatever reason, let's say there was like a altcoin season like 2 months ago, and then suddenly the altcoin season was no more, right? And then let's say now XCN is still like doing this and not really doing anything, then that's a different case, But if I haven't seen altcoin season, how can I really kind of, just say, oh, I don't want to believe in it? I just feel like, why would I give up? This is my point of view. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, when I was going through that hike, when it comes to Angel's Landing, I just didn't want to give up. And I kind of think about that, actually. And this price chart actually kind of reminds me a little bit, of Angel's Landing, kind of the topography, I would say. But besides that point, when I take a look at also Onyx, what I find pretty interesting is that when it comes to Goliath, which actually I think is the biggest thing that's happened to it historically speaking, I will say that because, again, what really major thing happened to Onyx historically speaking, right? I mean, I think that's kind of the biggest achievement so far. Now, Goliath, keep in mind, is still in the testnet. It's supposedly this layer 1 blockchain for the world of finance, but besides that, what I find pretty interesting is that Goliath has an aspect of EVM, right? Which sometimes people don't really talk about, but I think this is pretty interesting because EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine. And if I take a look at it, Ethereum is just a very massive layer 1 blockchain. Some other projects out there, for whatever reason, don't really want to kind of have this aspect, but I don't see why it would be such a bad thing. I mean, again, Ethereum is just a very massive layer 1 blockchain. And if I take a look at it as well, you know, at least the last time I checked, the average block time is 1 second when it comes to Goliath. Again, the testnet is not the mainnet yet, but I'm saying that's pretty impressive. And keep in mind, they're planning to launch the mainnet in Q1 of 2026, so there's still a ways to go when it comes to Onyx, in my opinion, fundamentally, right? When it comes to the price, it's really going to have to, I think, depend for an altcoin season and all this type of stuff, but I'm saying, when it comes to the fundamentals, I haven't complained so far. I think it's actually done a pretty okay, thing by launching the Goliath testnet. Now, granted, do we really need another layer 1 blockchain for the world of finance? Nah, I don't think so, actually. I don't think we don't really need one. But still, it's kind of the thought that counts because when it comes to Onyx, at least they're doing something, right? At least they're putting the effort. It's a thought that counts. It's like if someone, let's say, gives me a birthday present, it doesn't matter what the value is. Just that they even gave me a present in the first place, I'm already very touched by that. I'm already very thankful, so I'm not going to complain at all. But this is a different case, of course. It's not a birthday present, but I'm saying when it comes to, let's say, the Goliath testnet, it is something that is at least keeping me a little bit positive during a time like this because, again, the price isn't necessarily doing the best. However, with 25 cents, again, being around a 35x from here, and the market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply being around 9 billion, it's just something I haven't forgotten about because I just don't think that market cap right there is going to be, breaking any records anytime soon. It's not such a ridiculously massive market cap where it's never been achieved ever in history. It just doesn't give me that vibe. So, yeah, when it comes to XCN, I just haven't given up overall. I'm totally aware that, it's not that easy sometimes to really kind of even talk about Onyx, but in my opinion, at least it's not doing, or should I say it's not as low as it once was back in 2024, right? Like when I was first believing in XCN, what did I really look at historically, at least in the kind of medium term to say, oh, it did that? There was really nothing I could look at. The only thing I could do was just wait, and then the price chart, which is kind of basically flat like that. And then now we see this, sure, there's a pullback, but it's at least given me some motivation a little bit to kind of say, okay, at least XCN had some attention not too long ago. Okay, maybe people don't really completely ignore this, right? Who knows? But I'm saying, kind of showcase that it wasn't completely ignored not too long ago. So this is why I haven't given up. My plan is just very simple, actually. I'm just dollar constant averaging, holding, and just waiting. Granted, though, when it comes to the market, sometimes you have to tell me, oh, when is it going to do this or do that? I can't control that in any way. Like, there's no way I can do that. The only thing I can do is just stay patient, hold, and I just wait. And literally, that's about it. I mean, beyond that, I can't do anything else. What can I do? Pull up a price chart? That's not going to do anything, personally, for me. Like, it's not going to affect the market anyway. If someone says, oh, why don't you draw a triangle on a price chart? What is that going to do to the market? Is the market suddenly going to care about what I have to do in a price chart? No. So personally, I'm just focusing on the fundamentals, and that's really about it. I mean, beyond that, again, I can't really do anything. So I'm just going to stay patient, hold, and I just wait. And I'm just staying patient, and that's kind of my plan. Just waiting and seeing. I did that in the beginning, and I'll do that right now. However, I just wanted to make this video real quick to kind of showcase that, personally, in my perspective, I am still, staying the course, so to speak. I'm still holding, still waiting, but I am not telling anyone to do anything. But this is just personally what I am doing currently, and I haven't given up when it comes to Onyx. And I want to say thank you for watching. I'm going to be making updated videos when it comes to Onyx, so hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. It's Mali the Captain, and feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.